Trade RJ because look, the RJ thing is over. Let's stop. Let's stop with the RJ. Stop kidding yourself, okay? He gives you 44 points every now and then. He'll have a good game, and then he just comes out and looks like garbage, and it's like you don't know how to feel about him. He's lukewarm, okay? Trade RJ. He can't create shots off the dribble. He dribbles in a straight line. He dribbles at a fifth grade level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at me.
Bench Mob, they're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. That rapper jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. I ain't taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. You playing the seats, now it's time to grow. Shooting now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow.
I ain't seen from now. But really, I've been trying to tell you.
Bench Mob Podcast. What's up, bro?
Episode of 2022. Time really flies. Greg, Smooth. Greg, the Bench Mother sends me, how you doing tonight?
He almost mixed it up. I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Live from Houston with all the Meg the Stallions.
You couldn't say J Prince either. They make it Stallion.
Hey, shout out to Meg. She
Won her
what
cake.
She got what she
won her
wanted.
cake.
Wow, smooth operator Davenport, flu game season. How you doing?
I've been better, but we're gonna make it work.
All right, we're gonna do some house maintenance, get some things out of the way. 2022. Give me your top 5 albums that y'all rocked with in 2022.
We're going off the top of my head, and I'm sure for you it's the same thing, Miles. So it for me, my top album of the year was Dawn FM by The Weeknd. And that was a resurgence for me. I wasn't even listening to The Weeknd like crazy before I'd even gone to his concert. His concert was like a big listening party for me for that album. So I heard a lot of those songs for the first time in person. That's the best album of the year to me. And then we're gonna, I'm blanking on Drake's last album. Why am I blanking on it? Guys? Help me out. When he just dropped. Y'all blanking too. Are we all blanking on it?
The one with 21?
Yeah, was that Her Loss or was it?
Yeah.
Her Loss. Okay, Her Loss. Yeah, so Her Loss would be at number 2 or in the top 5. I don't know if I'm gonna go in order, but Dawn FM was definitely one. What else? Yo, man, that's his album was hard. I don't know if it's top 5, but it was hard though. Like it deserves a mention. Even if I'm not gonna put it top 5, it deserves it's in the conversation. I can't relate to what she was talking about, but it was hard. That's all I know. That album was tough. So that album goes in. That's his last album, and I feel bad because I don't even know if I remember the name of her album off the top of my head either, which is pissing me off. I'm blanking. But his last album was crazy. What else would I say? What else would I put in there?
SOS.
SOS. Thank you. SOS. I thought that Future album was hard too. That came out earlier this year. I actually loved Gunna's album. I was a fan of that one. That one hit hard for me, so I'll put Gunna's album in there too. And I'm not giving you all the titles off the top of my head, but we can always circle back. And I know we got an editing wizard here, so he'll add all these titles in as I talk about them. But the Gunna album was hard, and the Future album was hard too. I rounded out about 5, but there's definitely things I'm missing out for sure. But those are probably the top 5 albums I enjoyed the most this year. I enjoyed Honestly Nevermind a lot too, so I'd probably kick one of them out for Honestly Nevermind. People aren't as big a fan, but me, I enjoyed that album. So honestly,
you don't like Renaissance?
Now, if Chris were here, that'd be number 1 for him. So I'll just mention it for the big cat that Renaissance is number 1 for him. He loves that. He loves that. He's doing a little trend on TikTok where they were doing that dance to that song. So that's a Renaissance would be number 1 for Chris if he were here, if he could be with us today. But I'll represent his best interest here.
Boss, what was your top 5 albums?
Oh man, Definitely not Renaissance. I don't have that on my list, but um, Ramona, what was it? Ramona Park broke my heart. Vince Staples, that was a great album. Um, his last two albums have been really good. Honestly, Nevermind. Both Drake projects were really good this year. Even though people had complaints about the Honestly Nevermind because it's something he's never done before. It's like real out of his element. But sometimes you gotta step out of your comfort zone to make something good. Um, what else? What do I have here? I liked Baby Keem's album.
That was hard.
Yeah, that was hard. Um, King's Disease 3 by Nas. That was, I mean, everything he drops at this point is a hit. So, which is crazy because he's almost 50 at this point. So he's going on like my whole lifetime. He's been killing the game. So
Facts.
I got one more. Age, Sex, Location by Ari Lennox. That was really good.
Dreamville, Ari Lennox. If y'all had to choose, combine it, movies, TV shows, top 5, y'all movies or TV shows that y'all saw this year. 3 to 5. You ain't gotta give me 5, 3 to 5.
Before we do that, I gotta mention that Blast has some projects in 2022. I think that definitely deserves some mention in it. That's my artist of 2022. Outside of The Weeknd and Drake, he rounds out that top 3 for me. So I gotta show some love to Blast because everything he dropped is hard. And he had a couple projects too. And you have a good project when you're carrying Bino, whatever his name is, on an album, and you're still making it hard because he's whew, that's like nah.
They got a good dynamic going.
Blast be carrying a dude like LeBron carried Mo Williams. but TV shows of this past TV shows or movies, right? So it's a combination of both. That Top Gun movie was hard. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that movie. Top Gun was a good movie. I didn't think I would. And if you know me, you know why. but I enjoyed that movie. What else? I thought Black Panther was hard too. That was a good movie. I have my complaints about it, but I enjoyed it enough for it to be in this conversation. Too, what's the show that I was in? Man, I mean, I'm typical. We were talking about the shows a ton, but Power obviously was hard. The Power Book 2 with Tariq was hard. I enjoyed that. We talked about a lot on the show too. What other show was I into that I couldn't get out of a ton of that are worth mentioning? I don't know, man. I mean, I don't even think. What do you say?
Yellowstone?
What is that?
You never heard of Yellowstone? For real?
No, I never watched Yellowstone. What's that?
Hold up, Tone. You heard of it?
Yeah.
It's like
y'all more well versed than me.
It's this show based in like Montana. Kevin Costner. It's his show. He owns a ranch. It's real white. They herd cattle. They do all the stuff that you'd imagine they do in Montana. But they also get down and dirty and kill people and do stuff like that. So it's a good show. It's a good show. You got to check it out. But
This is why when we were at Chris's house and you called his house Yellowstone, which is why it was even funnier. And I thought you was referencing the show when you said Yellowstone.
Ooh. I didn't realize. I think I heard him say that. I just went when I thought you were talking about like it just being the size of a park, and I'm real. It's a completely different thing he's talking about. Of course, I went over Chris Heck. I don't think Chris watched that show, so I don't think he knew. I watched that show. You on Netflix? That show's hard, and I think they had a season they dropped during 2022. So that deserves an honorable mention. I watched You. That's a good show. That's a good show. I once I started, I couldn't stop that show. So I give you about 4 things right there.
I gotta throw out there for me, Glass Onion, Knives Out. That was really good. Just came out recently. A TV show called Only Murders in the Building. Season 2 was this year. Really, really good show. Abbott Elementary, which is basically to me the Black Office.
Yeah.
Very, very good show. Hilarious. And I'm gonna throw out a movie in there. I like Devotion, and I liked Hustle this year by Adam Sandler. I liked Hustle.
Yeah.
I would have preferred if he used some locals like he was supposed to do, but then LeBron and his checkbook came in and it was all NBA players. So typical LeBron stuff.
Yeah, for me, I had The Peripheral, which just came out. I think it's on like Apple TV or Prime. It's too many to keep track of. White Lotus. White Lotus is really good. Um, it's one of those like murder mystery shows that like it starts off, it gives you like somebody dies and then they flash back for the rest of the season leading up to the death. So
Mm.
that's good too. Top Gun. Top Gun was really good. That sometimes when you wait too long to make a sequel, it usually doesn't compare to the first one. But I think this was better than the first
Yep.
one, which is crazy. But Tom Cruise is an animal. Like he's doing all these stunts. He's probably the craziest person in show business right now because there's no reason for you to be doing all these stunts, jumping out of planes, jumping off of buildings. You got enough money. You let the stuntman do that.
Right.
Um, Wednesday was good. Um, what was that? That was that Adams Family show they had on Netflix. She did whoever I forget her name. She did a really good job. She sold it really well.
Jenny Ortega. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And shoot, I'm forgetting other ones, but that's it for now. That's all I got.
Give me your top two sports moments of 2022. I'll start off for me. I'll give y'all one. One of the biggest moments, because I'm a Tar Heel fan, was the most beautiful thing of beating Coach K and Cameron Indoor and beating him in the tournament and his final season. That to me, of course, would have loved to win a championship, but that low key was UNC championship. Send that Joker home with a bunch of L's against UNC. But yeah, y'all can go.
Those that's a good one, and that one stood up for me too. I'm a UNC fan, which people may not know. But I root for them, so I would say I would say that's one of them for sure too as a cop out, but I think it is. And I'm thinking about last year. I'm like, from my team's perspectives, it wasn't even very memorable, sports year for me. you so when I think about all in all, it's tough. But I don't know, man. I mean, that fourth, I don't love the words, but that fourth ring for Steph Curry was a big deal for him. You went and I sent you guys something in the group chat about Evan Turner basically calling Andre Iguodala and them, but I can't say on the podcast. But you know what it was, like he was calling him soft for ganging up like that, and basically holding the league ransom all those years when they had KD and there was no one else could win. So I would say that I would definitely put that moment of him winning that ring in Boston, and especially his performance in Game 4 was incredible. It's one of those top moments too, because I think it just solidified everything we know about Steph already, and put him in a conversation where it's like, all right, well, is he on the outside of that top 10, or is he in the top 10 all time? And I would say he's probably in top 10 all time. So yeah, I think that's a big one too. If I had to put it there too. What else? What else, man? What else? What would be even memorable? I'm trying to think.
What you got, Miles?
Well, the St. Peter's run to the Elite
Yeah.
Eight, that was crazy. Like a school from Jersey City, like I drive past there all the time when I'm out there. And just to think that they were beating all these like high major programs, that just shows how, March Madness is probably the best time in sports because you have so many moments like that. You have teams that just go on a run. Like all it takes is one win. You feed off that, you keep going. It sucks that it started with them beating Kentucky, but whatever. Aaron Judge hitting 62, that was incredible. And for him to do it clean, that's the other thing. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking Barry Bonds and all them, but like that's the biggest thing that everybody has been talking about is like he's still not the home run king, but like for him to do it clean and do it the right way, you got to admire that. And let me see what else.
Another one I got there too, definitely to me, is a top 5, top 10 athlete of all time. Serena Williams retiring, one of the biggest moments. And like I said, I'm saying top 5, top 10 athlete, not female, not top 5, top 10 athlete. Serena Williams, extremely dominant throughout her career, from young to the point of where she was at now. And honestly, I think she probably had 2, 3 years left in her if she wanted to focus on that. She wanted to start a family, focus on being a mom. But Serena Williams retiring, definitely one of the big moments of 2022 for me.
Facts. Facts. I agree. The Mets beat the Phillies. They were down by like 8 runs and came back in the ninth inning alone. That was pretty cool. That was fun for the people who care about baseball, for all 10 of you. And then what else would I say? I think this whole Giants season's been a moment for fans. I think the win in London was dope. That was probably the height of it, I think, where people knew that this thing could, really go well for the Giants. And you obviously we'll talk about that, but talk about all the football. But that was a height. That was a real cool moment for me anyway as a fan. I enjoyed that a lot. And I didn't even get to watch that game. I got to watch from the parking lot of the AAU tournament, giving my time away to these rotten ass kids. But here we are, right? So, I would say that was probably that rounds out my top moments for the season, for the year, I think, in sports.
Well, that Bills Chiefs game in the playoffs where, you know, they took the lead late in the game, like 13 seconds left. That's all Mahomes had to get it downfield to try and tie the game, and he made it happen. So that was one of those moments where you're just amazed at how good this guy is.
I forgot that was even 2022. It felt like that happened so long ago.
Yeah,
Bro, it's
Yeah.
been a long, long year, bro. That
Like,
really happened earlier this year, playoffs. They completely changed the overtime rules for the playoffs. Like, all that happened this year, which is crazy.
that is true.
Transitioning this or that, James Harden or Russell Westbrook has the better career?
I'd say
Didn't
James Harden.
I would easily too. People would get pissed when I say easily. You see, it's the way I say stuff. But James Harden had the better career. They both have MVPs. James got his, right. I'm making sure I'm they both. Yeah, if you level that out and we're taking individual accolades into account, James Harden is the better basketball player, like just overall. Height, Russell Westbrook was incredible. He was amazing. He, the triple doubles, and it's not just that he impacted winning with his play. He did at the height of his ability. He also came with his warts. He also was a deficiency for his teams that he was on too, because of the weaknesses in his game. Even at his height, that was still a thing you had to deal with. But you took it because there were more positive than negative with him at his height. With James Harden, it was just complete domination of the game. Getting to the free throw line, they've had to change the way they call fouls because of James Harden, right? So in a way, he has changed basketball in a way, because of but not the way he might think. He's manipulated the rules so much that they had to change the way they call these fouls, and you're not having guys go to the free throw line 16 or 25 times a game because of him. So I think that's I think when you take that into account and his overall skill, he's a better shooter, he's a better passer, he's a better ball handler than Russell Westbrook is. Just from a skill perspective, I'm gonna take James. And also I think James is someone who, and give credit to Russell Westbrook, he's self-aware. He's adjusted. He's a sixth man now, but James is still a high-end starter in the NBA. That's what we are with him right now, right? Like Russ is still is a high-end six man. He's probably the best six man in basketball, right, or one of them. So yeah, I think I take James. I would take James. And this is more on a different note, but if you can eat whatever you want and still play at that level, at a decent level, that's something I can condone. So I think James Harden gets it there too.
Before we go to the next one, Miles, what are your thoughts on the rumors that James Harden wants to go back to Houston?
I think they're just rumors. If he really wants to win, that shouldn't be a place that he's thinking about going back to. Because clearly they're not too focused on that right now. So it's like, what, you're going to join all these young kids and teach them about your old ways? Like, no, this is not this is not what we're doing. This is not what is happening. So I think his best shot is sticking with Philly. Um, Either sticking with Philly or making a move somewhere else in the East. Because I'm trying to think of other teams that he could help. Um, Maybe go back to Brooklyn. No, I'm just
Yeah,
messing
okay.
around. But
Okay.
no, going to Houston would be the problem. Like the saying, Houston, we have a problem. James would be that problem because you're trying to win and also trying to develop these young players. It's not going to match up. Like they got 4 or 5 guys who, you develop them the right way, you can, facilitate this rebuild pretty quickly. Like Sengun, Jabari Smith, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter. Like that's 4 guys that, you know, you build around those guys, you got something in Houston. But James is too far gone. Like he had his run in Houston, but it is what it is.
Next, this or that. 2 players with the most points in clutch time moments are DeMar DeRozan with 91 points, SGA with 90 points. Nobody has above 75. These are the top 2 clutch players point-wise in the NBA right now. For the game-winning shot, who would you put the ball in? Ball in their hands, SGA or DeMar DeRozan?
DeMar, because he has a shot that he's perfected. SGA is really great, and he's amazing, and he has a bright future, obviously, future MVP of the league at some point. But when you have someone Demar, what makes Demar so good is that he just knows he gets to his spots and you know it's coming and you can't stop it, and that's what makes him effective. And his game's going to age really well because of that. Um, so if I had to pick one person to get the ball into their hands, I'm picking DeMar DeRozan because I know DeMar's going to get to his spot, rise up, and he'll make that jump shot. He'll make that mid range jump shot from all different types of angles too. It's not like he likes one spot more than another. He just seems to be very effective from all parts of the floor when he's inside that 3 point line. So I'll go with him because of what he's been able to do with his game since getting into the NBA and how it's aged. How it's aged. When you can shoot the ball like that, no matter where you're shooting it from, you're gonna have a successful career. And I think calling his career success would be an understatement. He's amazing. He's an amazing player. So I'll go with him because of the quality of shot I know I'm gonna get from him and his ability to make it.
I gotta agree on the aspect too. Billy Donovan would agree with you because I've watched a lot of the Bulls games this year. When it's time to have a bucket in that fourth quarter, in that last 3 minutes, a lot of the time, the plays are drawn up for DeMar DeRozan, not Zach LaVine. It's drawn up for DeMar DeRozan, which I think speaks to his shot making ability, and he's done it. He was doing it when he was in San Antonio for that 1 year with Greg Popovich. And at one point, it was like, yo, you got to kind of get out of here. We're trying to lose, bro. Like, you you doing this too much. You got it. You got to go, bro. So I'm probably going to go with DeMar, but SGA has a really, really bright future. And he's made some big time buckets this year. He's broke the heart of a lot of teams that have better records than OKC. So SGA, I have him at he's in my top 5 of I want the ball in their hands at the end of the game.
Facts.
Yeah, I'd agree. DeMar would be my pick.
Hey, week 17, the NFL, Roger Goodell, the owners are probably ecstatic. This is the best way possible they probably could have envisioned the NFL season ended off. Week 17 and week 18 having meaningful games. It's a bunch of meaningful games going all the way through the NFL. Starting and looking in the AFC, do the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Tennessee Titans win that division? Jacksonville right now has the tiebreaker because they beat Tennessee, but they haven't clinched. Jacksonville and Tennessee have the same record.
I'd say Jacksonville, honestly, because look at everything that's going against Tennessee right now. They lost Tannehill. They got Malik Willis, who they just benched for Josh Dobbs, a guy who's never made a start in the NFL. For tonight's game, you're missing Derrick Henry, although I think that's mainly to keep him healthy for the Week 18 game against Jacksonville, which will probably decide the division if they win this week. Um, and then Trevor Lawrence is playing out of his mind right now. So feeding off the momentum, Tennessee's been kind of on a downward slope. Jacksonville's been kind of angling up the last month. So if I had to pick, I'd go Jacksonville, but we'll see. Usually things don't go too well for Jacksonville.
Jacksonville's gonna stumble in, man, because of all the situation in Tennessee, like you just said.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody's hurt. All their top end players, everybody, and on top of it, you have the receivers throw to anyway. Besides Treylon Burks, I don't know how good he's been. I may have just really exaggerated his name, but yeah, I think that him. Like I think because of where they are right now in the depth chart and how injured their Tennessee is, Jacksonville's it's in a roll on in, and they deserve it. They've improved a lot. You know what I mean? They've improved a lot. Trevor Lawrence looks like the guy he was supposed to be, that everyone talked about, and he is very, very good. So this is a team that spent a lot of money in the offseason to be in this position. So you got to pay it off in the playoff berth, and I think they're going to. I think things just worked in their favor at the same time, like the injuries again. So we're not gonna have a tight race, right? Not the super tight race where it's like everyone's on the edge of the seat waiting to see what happens. It won't come down to that.
I'm going with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is balling right now. Tennessee, they've been a question mark pretty much the whole season. Jacksonville, it's their time to get in the playoffs. Will they do anything with the home field? Probably not. But they'll get into the playoffs. Shout out to Doug Peterson and how he's coached them up to actually have Trevor Lawrence play well this year. Looking at the rest of the AFC, right? 7th seed, Miami Dolphins at 8-7. The Patriots are 7-8. The Jets are 7-8. The Steelers, shout out to Mike Tomlin, looking like they're gonna have another non-losing season, 7-8. The Raiders are still in the mix at 6-9. Who do you think gets that last final playoff spot? Because the Chargers are clinched, Ravens are clinched. Who gets that last spot?
I think if the Jets can beat the Seahawks this week, then I'd roll with the Jets just because who knows with Tua. Like this is probably the second confirmed concussion this year. Although I think it's been 3, but who's counting? But with Tua, it's like you got to protect the player. So I don't know if you can play him week 18. And I saw there was a good point someone made. It's like Miami's gonna have to pay like a high end backup to be his backup all the time because you don't know if you can count on him to stay healthy. This is kind of showing that. And so now you get to see what Teddy can do. I'm rooting for Teddy. I want to see him beat the Patriots because the Patriots win. They got the tiebreaker against us. So I'm being a little biased, but I want Miami to win this week. So it sets up a little showdown in Miami week 18 with us.
I think of all the teams you just talked about too, the Jets are the most talented team left to get in. The most talented team is just a matter, if can Mike White come good level and steady the ship and help him get in. But I think the Seattle's very beatable. As good as Geno's been, their defense has its warts and issues. So there's big plays to be had against that defense, and the Jets have the weaponry to get that job done. They do. So I would say the Jets too. The second team I would think about and be wary of is the Steelers because they're always in the conversation and they always find a way to be decent and good. And nothing would surprise me there. Mike Tomlin just figured out ways to win football games. So if the Steelers got into the playoffs, it would not surprise me at all. It wouldn't. But I think for the sake of this conversation, I'll go with the Jets too. I think the Jets again are the most talented team by far that hasn't gotten in on the AFC side. So probably maybe even in the NFL, honestly. So they should get in. It will take a little bit of a meltdown, but we'll see what happens.
I need something good to happen. The Knicks blowing leads, 60-point triple doubles. It's like, come on now. Like piling, God is just piling this on me right now. My team, they suck.
Giants and Jets in the playoffs at the same time would be interesting. Yeah. That'd be interesting. The noise in the city would be very loud. That's all I'm gonna say. And in the New Jersey area. So
Perfect transition. Looking in the NFC before we even get to the Giants. Who wins the NFC South? Tampa's at 7-8. Saints are 6-9. Panthers are 6-9.
Well, there's a big game this week. The Panthers are playing Tampa Bay. So I think if they win this game, that sets up a must win for both teams week 18. So I'd like to see the Panthers win,
I would
support
too.
my fellow green and white alumni, Sam Darnold. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But I kind of like the Panthers. I like the way they've been playing. They've been playing hard for the interim coach. His name is escaping me, but
Wilkes.
yes, Steve Wilkes. Um, and I don't really want to see Tom Brady just limp into the playoffs like this. They don't deserve to make the playoffs the way they've been playing, and I think they'd be a what?
That's it right there. That's it's all boils down to. The Buccaneers don't deserve to make it into the playoffs. They have not strung together two good performances all year. They're not fun to watch. They're incredibly boring to watch. If they're not in hurry up offense, they're not generating any offense at all, right? Most of the time, Tom Brady looks like somebody who should be doing anything but playing football, right? Most of the time, we can, like, you know what I mean? Like, the only time he looks like he should be playing football is when they're in hurry up and they're coming back and they're trying to get a lead late in the game. That's it. The rest of the game is horrible. He's missing Mike Evans. He's missing wide receivers. He's throwing picks. It just doesn't look good. It's not fun to watch. And so I don't care to see that in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And I think, contrary to popular opinion, I don't know, man. I think that a lot of people would feel the same way. I think the Panthers have done a good job hanging in there through a lot of adversity this year. Everyone's talking about them blowing the whole thing up, and they have a chance here to do something special and get in, regardless of their situation. And Steve Wilkes, I'm really rooting for that guy to keep his job. He got unceremoniously fired in Arizona, I think early on, right? During the Josh Rosen era, I think, right? The transition, he got let go. And Cliff Kingsbury came in next. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So it'd be a good story for that guy to get into the playoffs after everything he's been through, to get in. And the way he has that team playing inspired football, and the way he has Sam Darnold playing, and it's credit to the whole staff, but the way Sam Darnold's playing and he's reviving his career late and having a good little run right now, it's cool to see, man. It's cool. And beyond that, they just beat a really good Detroit. They beat the snot out of a really good Detroit Lions football team. So they've just got more equity with me. I just believe in what I see more when I watch the Panthers than I do when I watch the Buccaneers. I don't believe in them at all. They just look old as a team overall, and it starts with the quarterback. But Leonard Fournette looks like a sumo wrestler playing running back, just running around out there. It's not. He looks like he about to roll. We might as well just roll into the end zone half the time. So it's not fun to watch. Like, I don't enjoy the makeup of that football team. And quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of Tom Brady. I'm definitely biased in this conversation. But if we're going to be honest about it, the team that's looked better is the Panthers. Period.
Now, the Bucks or the Panthers still might be able to get into the playoffs, whether they win the division or not, because the last two spots are still up for grabs. New York Giants are at 8-6. The Commanders are 7-7. Seattle 7-8. Detroit is 7-8. Green Bay, after all that they've been through, are in the playoff discussion again at 7-8. A-Rod, Watson, they have a connection. That young wide receiver is actually playing well with Aaron Rodgers as of late. Who do you think is those final two spots in the NFC? I'm going to say I think one of them is the Giants for sure. The last one, I want to say, because I like how they've been playing, I want to say Detroit gets in at that last spot, but it's definitely the Giants. And then that last spot, I think, is up for grabs.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the Giants are basically a lock. They could lose both games at the end of the year and still have a way to get in if, certain teams lost out too. So they put themselves in the driver's seat by winning that game against Washington. So you have to beat a bad Colts team, a terrible Colts team at home. I expect to do that. So I think the Giants are going to get in. Outside of the Giants, looking at the teams in it, Seattle would make a lot of sense to get into this thing, but the way the Packers are playing too, and Aaron Rodgers, I don't put anything past them. The Packers have such a uphill battle. They need things to happen. They need a bunch of different crazy scenarios to happen to get in. So because of that, it's stacked up against them, and I don't think they will. But I would say either Washington gets in, or I think Washington's like right behind us. And I think Seattle could easily lose that game against the Jets. It's just they got a tougher schedule, tougher layout. And I think Washington does too. But I think Washington's still been a better position all in all. So I would say it's either going to be the Lions or Washington that gets that last spot. I know I'm copping out not picking the team. I'm leaning towards Washington getting in. But the Lions could get in too. The Lions have had a couple of devastating losses, but they still have a chance. So I'd say that either one of those teams, is the last team to get in. But the Giants are a lot, which is fun to say. Feels good.
Okay. I like the confidence. So Giants, yeah, I like the Giants to make it. They got to win one of these games. If not, it could get dicey. But yeah, if they beat this Colts team, which there's not much to play for at this point, they suck. Their coach sucks. All their quarterbacks suck. So at this point, what are we doing?
They don't want to win. They don't want to win though. The front office it doesn't want to win games. I'm sure they want to go get their quarterback in this next class. I'm sure they're eyeing guys already. They're packing it up. The stupid thing here would be to win a football game. It'd be a mistake on their part. So I think just by default the Giants win that football game. I don't think they're setting those.
Dumber things have happened.
No, for sure.
The Jets beat the Rams for no reason 2 years ago, and that made us miss out on Trevor Lawrence. So.
You're absolutely right. And it does happen. I'm just saying, like, the smart franchises, and the Colts aren't stupid. The smart ones don't do that. They don't win games they shouldn't win when they're in that situation. We all know there's no lottery system. So you can control your future when it comes to who you get in the draft based on how many games you lose. So
that's why they hired Jeff Saturday.
That's exactly why they hired. That's the true reason why they hired him. They didn't want to win games. That's really what it was all about in the very beginning. They could have hired someone qualified, but you run the risk of winning some football games with a guy like Jonathan Taylor in your backfield and guys that are talented. Now Taylor is suddenly perfectly lined up to miss the rest of the season on IR. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. You're looking at a situation now where you've really set yourself up nicely to get a Will Levis or get Anthony Richardson or get whoever you want, right? The next tier quarterback, even Stroud, you might get. He's within range. So I think their O-line looks so bad. I mean, it looks so bad. They're so clearly not trying to protect Nick Foles. He's just a crash test dummy out there. So I expect Kayvon Thibodeau to be all over him on Sunday in New York. It's not lined up for him, man. We're getting in, and we deserve it. I deserve it.
Looking at, we're probably a quarter way through the season for the NBA. The All-Star voting has been opened up. In the East, before we even talk reserves, who's your starters in the All-Star game? Your predictions right now, based off the season, who do you have starting in the backcourt in the East? I'm going with Donovan Mitchell and Kyrie Irving.
I agree. Miles, I agree. The Kyrie thing, I was talking to somebody about it, and they were saying, "Oh no, there's no way Kyrie will be in the All-Star game," and they're taking into account all of the nonsense that's happened off the court. But he missed about 8 games in that sabbatical when he was reading that crazy ass book and posting it online. So I think that because we're past that and they're where they are now as a team, right? We're talking with the second seed in the East, 10 wins in a row, KD's MVP, right? Playing at an MVP level. And Kyrie is he's playing at a 50-40-90 level. That's where he's at, 50-40-90 across the board, right? Just around there. You have 2 guys playing at that level, 50-40-90 on the Nets. So they both deserve to get in and both deserve to start the All-Star game. It just makes sense. Kyrie's been incredible since getting back. He's focused. So I think he deserves to get in. He's playing well.
Who's your starters in the backcourt, Miles?
No, I like that. I was thinking Trae Young, but I don't like that guy. So
he didn't even come to work.
Well, neither did the other guy. So
at least I'm saying we're winning though. But yes, neither of those guys go to work.
For the front court, I'm going with Giannis, Jason Tatum, which is obvious how he's been balling this year. And I think some people forgot because of everything that was going on off the court. Kevin Durant. I'm going to throw this stat out there. If he stays at this pace, he will be the first player in NBA history to average, I believe, over 32 points at a 55% field goal percentage clip. This man is basically making every other shot he takes. KD is on an absolute tear. And his true shooting percentage, they said, is 67%.
Mm.
This man isn't missing. You can't do nothing with that. And me and Greg talked about it. We put it in the chat. It was a sequence that the Nets had against the Cavs. Them boys look scary. Them boys look, and in the words of Coming to America, them boys good. They good. I like what I'm seeing from Brooklyn.
I hadn't seen a stretch of basketball like that since the Warriors in 2016 with KD. Like, I haven't seen a stretch of basketball that great, that unstoppable since then. Like, that was ridiculous. They scored like 20 points in like 3 minutes, or like not even less than that. It was insane to close out a half. So yeah, this team, this is what I dreamed about them being when it all happened, when KD and Kyrie came, and it's happening right now. So it's a lot of fun. And the BS is on the side now. But yeah, I think your three guys you named, Jason Tatum, Giannis, and KD, no brainer. No brainer. I don't think there's even an argument for any one of those guys to be out right now, even though Giannis looks a lot like the basketball Tarzan I spoke about these days. That's a whole different conversation. But I think that, he's still getting his numbers. He's still a great player. So Tarzan or not, he's gonna swing on that vine into the All-Star game.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. I agree. Tatum, he's balling out. He could possibly win MVP this year. Giannis, same thing. And then Durant, like you said, it's unreal for someone who takes mostly jumpers to be shooting like close to 60% from the field. So only other person that you could probably say you could debate is like Embiid, but I still don't know who you take out. Maybe Giannis, but
Looking at the reserves.
Embiid, yes.
Looking at the reserves, right? I got Embiid as one of my reserves.
Okay.
Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, Pascal, Bam, Tyrese,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to put Jalen Brunson in that mix.
Mm.
Jalen Brunson's as an all-star reserve this year. The Knicks got to get the Knicks. How they been playing outside of lately the little Luka going crazy and losing leads. Jalen Brunson got to get the nod. I wouldn't give it to Randall. I'm giving it to Jalen Brunson.
He's been the thing that changed about the Knicks that made him. I mean, let the Knicks aficionado speak to that more than me, but I feel like he's the thing that changed that team more than anything else. He's been the best player on the team, most consistent, anyways. I would think. So yeah, I was really debating that, like, who gets in? Is it Jalen Brunson? Does he make this All-Star bid? I think he does. He deserves it. And I told people he'd be an All-Star. I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised. I didn't know it would happen this soon, but I thought at some point in his next tenure he'd be an All-Star in the East. So here we are, and I think he deserves it. So hopefully he gets in. But I think every reserve you listed is on the nose. I'm trying to think of a guy who might deserve it. Nick Claxton.
Nick Claxton, and I heard
Claxton.
Miles mentioned it earlier. People probably gonna feel some type of way that I didn't mention Trae Young, but I can't put Trae on the All-Star this year.
Trae will probably make it because off reputation. You know how it goes at this sometimes. Like off reputation, these guys get in, and that's why I was debating the Jalen Brunson thing, because if Trae Young gets in, the person who pays for it is probably Jalen Brunson. I think he might just get booted out because Tyrese is making an All-Star game. No, Tyrese is going to make it. Tyrese Halliburton is incredible. He's going to make the All-Star game, and he can Wally Zerbiak can suck on that, right? But if we're talking about that last spot, I think Trae Young, let's see how much the name brand versus non-name brand kicks in. That's really what we're going to discuss for that last spot. But Nick Claxton, there's some votes now. Nick Claxton is the best clutch defender in basketball right now. In the clutch moments, he's the best defender in basketball, the best defensive rating I think I saw. He has been incredible. He had 6 blocks last night. He is the backbone of that defense. Everyone talks about the Nets needing a big man. He's doing everything back there for them, slim frame or not. He's taking care of business. And him and Ben Simmons are working really well together on the court for them. So with a team like the Nets, who could be the number 1 seed in the East by the time the All-Star game rolls around, you could make a case for 3 All-Stars in that team, and it wouldn't be Ben Simmons as a third, but it'd be Nick Claxton. So, just want to show him some love. I don't think he won't get in. I don't think, but he certainly deserves some conversation around his name.
Yeah, I like the picks. I'd take Jalen Brunson over Trey Young at this point,
Me too.
just because of the impact that he's had for the Knicks. Like, if you take him off this team, who knows where we'd be?
Sidebar. Didn't bring, wasn't on the docket, but I just want to get y'all take real quick. I know Greg gotta go. We got probably like 15 minutes left with him. Trey Young. There's rumors that he's going to request a trade. Things aren't going well with the coach. If you're the front office, do you try to trade Trey Young?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I don't think, because you're not going to be able to attract the second superstar to come play with him in Atlanta. It's not the marketplace for it. And it's hard to get guys to come play with guys like Luka and Trey because they dominate the ball so much. So you capitalize on your investment by trading him, getting as many picks back in a haul as you can, and getting as many 2023 draft picks as you can, because this draft class is strong as all hell, right? You reset. You reset. Bogdanovich, and you have Collins. Collins doesn't want to be there anymore. You guys are trying to trade Collins. So a lot of the blue chip pieces that you've gotten over the years, you don't even have any plan to keep them around. So my opinion, you trade them and you reset it. The Hawks last night, they played the Nets without Trae Young. The ball flies around, man. They're dangerous. They have a lot of talent. You have DeJounte Murray you made a trade for. It makes Trae Young a bit more expendable when you have DeJounte Murray over there anyways, especially when Trae Young doesn't want to play off ball. That's part of the problem. All these problems started with Nate McMillan when, remember, you added DeJounte Murray to the fold. The rumor in the offseason was that they did it so that way you could play off ball more because you're such a great shooter. You think it makes sense, right? But Trae Young has no interest in doing that, to the point where he's fighting with his coach and leaving practices early and not showing up to the games unannounced, not telling people. So when it gets to that point, is that toxic? And you have a guy he's talented, he's amazing, he's a hell of a basketball player, great, but you're a liability defensively. You don't really play defense, and part of it's just you're not really built to do that. And on top of that, you're not trying to play off ball and do what it takes to win in the NBA, right? You got to make a hard decision, and it's not that hard when you think about it. Trading him makes sense as long as you get the right haul back in return. Now, the more interesting question is who trades for him, because I think whether or not they should trade him is an easier question to answer. I think who trades for Trae Young is the question that we should be asking, because that's a much more fun conversation to have.
Who do you think? If anybody comes to your mind, Miles, Greg, who do you think
I'll let Miles talk about it.
Should be in the market for Trae Young's services?
Miles should have an itch for him, so I think I'll let him talk about it.
Shoot, I don't know who would want to trade for him at this point, because you're gonna have to give up too much. He doesn't play defense. I think with the Hawks, they've kind of reached a ceiling with Trae Young as their point guard. Like, they made the conference finals 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how they go any further than that with this team as constructed. So they kind of have to make something happen soon. But
yeah, they definitely hit their plateau with Trae Young as a team.
Yeah, and then they gave up all these picks for DeJounte Murray. Like, what's going on? So it would be nice for them to get some picks back, some players. I think they play a lot better with DeJounte Murray than they do with Trae Young.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what they've seen. And, like, I think John Collins doesn't want out if Trae Young is gone.
Right.
He just don't want to be with Trae.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be with Trae. And that's one of your young players that you can build around.
In the West, starting backcourt, I got Luka and Steph.
Yeah, I mean, Steph's gonna miss all the time, but Steph, he's starting. So what are we talking about? Luka.
I'd say Shea.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Who sits though?
Yeah, but that's the thing. The starters is basically
the hopes.
The fan vote and all that. I think Steph will get in.
Yeah,
off of that. He's gonna have enough votes.
Steph's like the president out here. So he's gonna get in. There's no way he's not getting in. And Luka got all of Slovenia and Australia and all that voting for him. So he's got international presence. So he's in. Everyone loves him. So he's gonna get in for sure. So there's no chance that Shea starts over either one of them. Also, if I'm backtracking for the trade sweepstakes, two teams that come to mind that should trade for him off the top of my head. I do think the Knicks should make a little call because y'all need some star power. I'm sorry, y'all don't have enough shot creators in that team, and y'all need some juice. And Trey gives you guys juice right away. And I don't think Jalen Brunson is going to deal. So I think it's worth it. If you can get RJ and trade RJ because look, the RJ thing is over. Let's stop with the RJ. Stop kidding yourself, okay? He gives you 44 points every now and then. He'll have a good game, and then he just comes out and looks like garbage, and it's like you don't know how to feel about him. He's lukewarm, okay? Trade RJ. He can't create shots off the dribble. He dribbles in a straight line. He dribbles at a 5th grade level, okay? Trade the guy. Let's move on. Let's get some star power in New York. So we can have I don't know about you, Miles, but I have vision of having a real rivalry in New York because KD gonna be here. All right, so let's have some fun with this thing. Let's get Trae Young in the building. All right, you got a nice little backcourt, and let's get because you should have had Donovan Mitchell. So let's get some star power in the building. I think it makes sense, man. Like I know it's not appealing because he handles the ball a lot, but you got to do something. You got to do something, man, for real.
We're gonna have two 6 feet guards in the backcourt. Just
You
getting
gonna do it
iced up all game. Is that what we're doing?
You were doing it before anyway. So if you're just be like the Cavs and build an incredibly long front court, that athletic front court that can sustain against those and help and you're funneling all those guys who are driving past got those 2 turnstiles in the front of the court to big athletic guys. That's what you do. But
who's the second team?
So how long before they get frustrated with him just getting blown past every time?
Has that happened in Cleveland? has Jared Allen turned around and smacked Darius Garland in the back of the head? I don't think so. So
Not
we
yet.
should be okay. But no, the second team that comes to mind is obviously a team like the Lakers need juice, man. The Lakers need juice. All right, I don't know if they probably can't pull it off. Okay, but they need to do something. LeBron issued a very public threat to those guys yesterday. That was about as pointed of a threat as I heard LeBron make. And I'm a big LeBron guy, obviously, so I paid attention throughout his entire career. He's been frustrated. He's been in bad situations before, but to talk about retirement so openly, you told guys you don't play till you're 45. You were very clear about that. And now all of a sudden it's about your mind being in it, and you'll see if your mind can stay in it if you guys are just playing for nothing. Look, that was a shot of genie bus. Figure it out. You got to do something. And even if you can't get Trae Young, your hat should be in the ring. You got to do something. You got to make a shake because you don't want to lose Bron. Trust me. You don't want Bron to walk away. You really don't. So I think the Lakers and Knicks are 2 teams that are obviously teams that should be in the mix. Are they the most feasible teams? Is it going to happen? Probably not, but they should be in.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that regard. Do something to show LeBron that you actually give a darn. Because for what it looked like, honestly, it seemed like a dog that help out blind people could run the organization better than what
He's trying to give the keys to a service dog.
Yeah, that's what they call a service dog. The front court, I got Joker, Zion, and AD starting.
Will AD be back? I hope he's back.
I don't think he'll be back. I think he'll be voted in as a starter, and then they'll replace him.
Okay. Yeah, I have no argument.
Yeah.
No argument there. Not that we do this to argue, but no argument at all on those 3 guys. I don't think we can. Zion's
if you had to replace AD, I'd say Sabonis should get that.
Yeah.
Because he's been really good. He's been playing like the Jokic role for Sacramento.
Yeah. I agree.
On the reserves, give me SGA, give me Bron, Paul George, Dame, John Morant, and Lauri Markkanen.
You didn't start Bron.
Nope.
Oh, Bron's gonna start though.
He's gonna get the votes. I know that. But if it was up to me, I wouldn't start Bron this year.
Who your 3 forwards again? Holy Zion.
Yeah, I'd put Zion over Bron this year just because of what he's done.
No, that's fair. I don't disagree. By the way, I don't disagree. I think you guys are absolutely right. I just think there's no way. It's like Kobe at the end. It doesn't matter. Like you're gonna get you're in. You're starting. People love you. You're beloved. So
yeah, that's the thing.
Popular.
that's the thing too. Is like I think if they obviously had more of a winning record too,
Yeah.
he'd be in there. And I think he'll get in there also because every time he's been the captain, he's undefeated. So they'd love to see if he could do it again. That's better for TV ratings, all that good
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
I just wouldn't have him starting this year because Zion is playing out of his mind. Pelicans are a championship contender team.
Mhm.
And then Nikola Jokic is looking like he's trying to get another MVP. He's
Yeah.
balling, he's doing, and everybody's talking about, oh yeah, he's getting this player and that player back. This man still is carrying a lot,
Yeah.
on his back with that Denver team because Murray don't look like fully
Yeah.
himself yet, and Porter Jr. he over here, his neck, his back, everything hurting.
Also, if he's not shooting the basketball, he's not playing. Like he's not doing anything. He's
He
just not
doesn't impact it any other way. 6'8", 6'9", and doesn't do anything
anything.
else.
Nope. Nope. Immature. That's all right.
Finish it off. Kappa facts. Sean Payton and Tom Brady should go to the Saints next season.
Cap.
Why would that be the quarterback you pick? Yeah.
Why would that be the place they go?
Back to the Saints, he said?
Yeah, back to the Saints.
Oh, yeah. I'm just sick and tired of a good New Orleans teams. They seem like an annoying fan base. I don't know why. They've been through a lot, but it just bothered me.
Where do you think Sean Payton should go next season? Because there's already rumor that he wants to get back into it next season.
He might go to the Broncos. Probably wave his magic wand over Let's Ride, and maybe they'll actually, the train will be operational next year. I think it could work. It could work. Russell Wilson has lost arm talent, and it's just he played like a bum this year. And I think he just got caught up in all the other stuff off the field. But I think that's a lot of it. Really, I really do. But okay, there's that. What I mean, the Colts are interesting if they get the right quarterback. If you can get yourself excited about Anthony Richardson or one of these young guys they're going to draft, maybe you go there. That could make some sense too. I'm sure he wants to go somewhere with an established quarterback. I think Dallas is going to get bounced out the playoffs this year. Obviously early, and I think Dallas probably be where he looks to go because they're going to fire McCarthy. They're looking for any excuse to fire his ass. McCarthy was a placemat, right? A placeholder, I should say, a bookmark, if you will, for when Sean Payton came available. So I think that they're going to take that old dusty ass bookmark out the book and insert Sean Payton into the fold. So I think that's the most likely scenario. Okay, we all know Dallas is a team he was linked to, and I hate that, but because it'll make them a better football team, it will. I had a good coach of my own, so it'll be all right. But I think that's the situation that we're looking at. That's most feasible. Yeah.
I know he was probably hoping the charges would be worse,
Yeah.
so they could fire the head coach, but they clinched the playoff spot. So
they might still fire us.
they might still fire him if he, gives the word that all right, I want to be here, Coach Herbert.
They
'Cause
fire
that's
him.
the most talented quarterback that could possibly need a new coach.
I hope that happens. By the way,
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't come to the NFC East. I don't want him here. Go over there. Go build up your empire with Justin Herbert, the most talented quarterback alive. And we'll leave it at that. But just don't come here and fix Dak Prescott. Like, don't do that. That please let them be perpetually bad, because that's where I like it. I like it like that. Even when they're good, they're bad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he never really sold. So yeah, I hope he goes to the Chargers, but I think the Cowboys are the most realistic option. I think the Cowboys is how it ends. He didn't end up in the Cowboys if we're being real, like, about it.
Yo, Happy New Year to our followers. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all rocking with us all 2022. Look forward to y'all rocking with us in 2023. We're going to have a bunch of more stuff to come, new content. We're going to have the different mic setup, a whole bunch of different things we got coming y'all way. But you already know 2022 to 2023 to 2024. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. Bench Mob Ent. We out. Peace.
Peace.